8 years ago, God revolutionized my life by calling me to daily prayer. That prayer did 3 dramatic things for me. Tonight, I want to share the first of those 3 things. Come on, let's go. When I started praying, I was very, very excited. Because if God said nothing you do is going to prosper until you pray, well, that's also saying, hey, buddy, when you start praying, you're going to begin to be prosperous. And so I went into it very enthusiastic. I was praying. I was claiming all kinds of things. I'll tell you some of the prayers I was praying. Our school needed extra room, and I was praying that God would help us out with more space. And I was claiming in Jesus' name we were going to have more space. Later on, some other property adjacent to ours opened up, and I was walking around that, claiming it in Jesus' name. I was praying about my relationship with my wife, and I really believed that God was going to change her personality. I believed that God was going to do miracles in my finances. I was so filled with excitement that I took most of the money out of my retirement account and I invested it in a new business venture. And I thought, I'm praying, how could this possibly go wrong? There were people in my life with whom I had had a tenuous relationship, and I was anticipating all that was going to dramatically change. I was praying, and I couldn't see any difference in my life. My wife's personality was not dramatically changing. God didn't give us any of the properties that I was hoping for. All the money I invested in a business, I lost it. And I was really starting to get desperate, and I was saying, God, what are you doing? I thought you called me to pray, and you told me that I was going to be successful if I would begin to pray. Things were going to change. It took me about a year of daily prayer time before I realized the first thing that God was working on. The first thing that God was changing was probably the most difficult task that He had in my life, and that was me. My wife, my kids, they weren't the problem. The physical realities of our church location was not the problem. My job, the amount of money that I had, the business that I was in, the things that was not the problem. The problem was me. After a year, I could look back on my life and I could see some dramatic changes that had been taking place. Changes in my personality, changes in my heart, changes in the things that I was passionate about. The first major revolution that I had in my life was God changed me. I promise you, if you would make a daily commitment of prayer, a year from now, you could look back upon the person that you are, and you will be amazed at the difference that God would make in your life if you'll pray. Thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you'll join us tomorrow night. I want to share the second dramatic thing that God did in my life through prayer. We'll see you then.